Eskom spokesperson Andrew Etzinger, just to find out what's actually going to be happening today and for the rest of the week. A very good morning to you, Andrew. Thank you so much for joining us. What's happening today? Prospects of load shedding?
Morning, Leanne. We're off to a better start than we were yesterday. So at this stage, we haven't scheduled load shedding. The grid is still constrained, so we can't rule out anything else going wrong, of course. And if that does happen, we'll come back to the public through the media. But at this stage, we are not load shedding, fortunately. If we look at the rest of the week, the grid will be tighter towards the end of the week on Thursday and Friday once again. But again, we are hoping to avoid that. We're working very hard to keep our reserves intact and to make it at least to the weekend without load shedding.
Why are there conflicting reports? Yesterday morning, I know that here at pretty much at the same time, we also announced that there would be no load shedding and that it would probably be on Thursday. And within minutes of saying that, everybody got on to Twitter and various forms of communication to say, that's not true. We are load shedded as we speak. And then suddenly we started seeing schedules. Where's the miscommunication here?
What happened yesterday, unfortunately, was that things changed quickly. The outlook had been good for the week, and unfortunately at the Majuba power station, the cables which were supplying the mobile coal conveyors, which were taking coal into the Majuba power station following the silent collapse, those cables were damaged during the repair work, which meant that we basically once again lost the capacity from the Majuba power station. So unfortunately it was once again a big drop of capacity in the grid, unexpected, and it really changed very, very quickly. So we apologize again for the lack of communication. I think the communication at the time was correct, but a couple of hours later, of course, the incident happened and once again plunged us into darkness. So we apologize for that.
Today, let's just reiterate that. So you're saying that today, as it stands right now at 12 minutes past 7, there is not going to be any load shedding. We're working by the minute now, aren't we? So you're saying nothing today? Pretty much.
And yesterday, what the team was able to do was to restore power supplies to those mobile conveyors. So at the Majuba power station, again, those units are up and running, which gives the grid the necessary stability for the day. But it is important that we just stress that the reserve margin on the grid is so low that the simplest issue of a cable, being broken, leads to potential risks. So those risks are ever present. Unfortunately, we just don't have a buffer against events when they happen at the moment. So it can change, as you say, from minute to minute, unfortunately, but at the moment things are looking good.
Okay. Andrew, yesterday South Africans really did appreciate Eskom apologizing for the situation we find ourselves in, although some people were very, very cynical about that. But I think what really got South Africans was Eskom stating that there is no crisis when everybody's sitting in candlelight and their businesses are losing money by the second. Do you think it was fair for Eskom to announce that there's no crisis?
Mr. Matone covered that issue quite extensively during the media briefing yesterday, and what he said was this. He said for the country and for the electricity supply within the country, there is a crisis. There's no denying that. What Mr. Matone was specifically asked yesterday was whether there's a crisis within Eskom. And in answer to that specific question, how is Eskom functioning, Mr. Matone said no. And what he was referring to, and he clarified that to say that people are still at their posts, we are still doing our very best. People are working hard. I think he did in the insert say, the organisation is depressed. Yes, of course. We feel that we have let the country down. So we're certainly not proud of the situation. But the fact is that we're still working very hard to rectify it, and that is what Mr. Matone was referring to when he says within the organisation Eskom there's no crisis.
All right, so let's just give viewers advice. I know we're doing this all the time, but let's tell South Africans, how can we help you?
And what we're asking is that the public switch off everything that is not in use. That's what it amounts to. That really makes a very big difference to the grid and would enable us again to reach Friday without load shedding. A lot of people will be going on vacation roundabout now. Before you leave, please switch off your geysers in your roof. It doesn't need to boil away. It would really give the grid some relief. And other appliances which might be in standby mode, your DSTV decoders and all of those things, if they could just be switched off completely, that would really be much appreciated during this time. And then swimming pool pumps to please be switched on only to come on during night time. During the day, give them a break. That'll give the grid a break as well.
Yeah, so just everybody to please be vigilant, switch off everything that they're not using. Andrew, before I let you go, you've constantly been quoted as saying that the power grid is going to be under strain for the next 3 months. Why is this? What's going on? What happened?
Unfortunately, the situation that we find ourselves in won't be fixed instantaneously. We're going to be needing new power stations to come on. We're going to be needing to do a lot of maintenance on our existing power stations in order to improve their reliability. And unfortunately, to do that maintenance, we need to take those power stations offline, and therefore they're not available to the grid, which adds to the constraints. So unfortunately, it's a bitter pill for the country, of course, but it does mean that the grid will remain constrained while we do the necessary maintenance. In the long run, it's the right thing to do. We will get out of this, but unfortunately, we need to take some pain now. Just
again, Medupi, is this going to help?
Yes, certainly. Medupi is looking good. We're just at the very, very final stages now, of course, of commissioning the first unit at Medupi. It's fully built. So that will certainly give, I'm sure, a good impetus to the grid. And I think also to the psyche of the nation when you actually see this world-class project actually starting to deliver. Of course, I think, it will all help to put us in a positive frame of mind and see light at the end of the tunnel. So it's looking good at this stage.
All right. Andrew Etzinger, thank you very much for talking to us here on Morning Live, just helping people to understand what's going on, firstly, and secondly, just to get through the day. As we said during the interview, as of this minute here, now, this 16 minutes past 7, no load shedding, but by 18 minutes past 7, there very well might be load shedding. So we're living from minute to minute right now. I'm not sure that's going to help you too much, is it? All right. Let's